Okay, with Truecrypt, you'll open up the program, you'll pull down volumes, you will say, let's create a new volume. Once you create the new volume, you've got three options. Create an encrypted file container, an entire partition, or a full system. We're going to create an encrypted file, standard volume. It says select a file. We'll go down and I want to put the file inside of my documents. So I just go to my documents and write in there my new test file, or whatever I want to call it. I'm going to give it an extension of TC for Truecrypt so I don't confuse myself. Save it. It asks me to save it. I click Next. I'm going to accept the AES file encryption. Hit Next. They want to know how big to make the file. I'm going to make it very small, just 10 meg, so it gets done quickly. It wants a password. Now I would expect you to have made the password, determined it beforehand, and put it in your password save, which I've done. So I will flip over to password and simply paste it in. What I've done was made a password with words, with letters, with symbols, but which is fairly easy to remember. This is 1 + 1 = 2, which is twice 1, and then some crap on the end to pad it out. Repeat the password, click Next. I move my mouse around to make all sorts of random stuff before we actually format it. When it formats it, it will write onto the entire size of the volume that you're making a bunch of random characters, so you can't even tell how big anything is in the volume. Click Format. It makes it. It's created. Now I exit. Now at this point I would need to mount it. Now I'm going to mount it to call it a drive letter toward the end of the alphabet. I'll do T for test or Truecrypt. I'll hit mount. It says can't do it because it's trying to mount this thing. So I'm going to click select the file, go to my documents, and find my new test file. Click open. And now it puts the new test file in the volume, and I say mount. It wants the password, which I type in and say OK. And now the new volume is mounted. At this point, I can go into my file manager and I will now have a T drive, which is 10 megabytes big. Okay. I could go off to my downloads, find a file, copy the file, go down to my T drive, and paste it. And it will act, this drive will act just like any other standard drive. When I'm done using it, I will hit here, I will dismount the drive. Drive is gone. Now, if I go into my file manager, you will notice that on the C drive, there is no longer any T drive. And when I go to Documents and zip on down to the end here, I have my new document, which was just written, which is 10 megabytes big, and that file would have to be copied after it had been dismounted in order to do a backup.